Welcome to episode 90 of the Toadstool Boardroom for the week of May 15th, 2024. My name's Logan Plant, and I'm joined, as always, by Justin Korais. Hi, Justin.
What's up, Logan?
As always, except not last week and not next week. But still, as always, we're glad you're here this week. Yeah, other than that. And he just enjoyed some delicious cookie dough. It's Chris Schreiber. Hi, Chris.
I certainly did. Hello there.
What kind was it? Tell the folks.
My wife is experimenting with new flavors. This one was cinnamon and Nutella. This is the first time she's made that one. And let me tell you, there's a reason. This body didn't just happen. Okay. This is a vessel for testing cookie dough. And even though she nailed it, I'm going to tell her she didn't. So she has to make it again. And then I can just keep eating it.
Oh, my God. Gaslighting.
That's brutal. I think it should be a Splatfest theme. It should be... do you eat cookie dough if it has raw egg in it? Yes, no, or I don't know what the third team would be.
I'm lactose intolerant.
Yeah,
that's not that egg has anything to do with lactose.
To do with eggs?
And I'm a vegan.
I'm a vegan. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you would just pick the no team. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Anyways, there is a Splatfest coming up. Did you guys see the latest theme for this?
No.
It's a pretty funny one. I got to pull it up here, but it is: what would you do at the end of the world? And the choices are, would you do the same ole, would you do your bucket list, or would you save the day? And this is actually this weekend, so I'm glad I remembered this. It kicks off Friday, May 17th at 5 and ends Sunday, May 19th at 5. So traditional boardroom activity. What team are you picking, Justin?
Oh, God, I don't know. Somebody else go.
I am picking save the day because I think that's a fun choice, and it's Big Man's team. Would I actually try and save the day? I don't know, probably not. But that's what I'm picking for the Splatfest.
I probably would, to my doom.
Yeah, you would try and fail to save the day?
Exactly.
Okay. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I'm not doing much saving. Let's be real. I'm just not built for that.
Okay.
I don't know how to tie certain knots, or pitch a tent in the wilderness. So, yeah, I'm probably just gonna let it take me.
That wasn't even one of the choices.
I'm making it one. I'm the fourth member.
Just let it
roll over and die.
Just give up. That's Chris's team, so he will not be participating in the Splatfest, but I have to play this weekend, Splatoon fans. Okay, we got a fun show this week. It's not the crazy jam-packed news week that we had on last week's show, so we're going to return to our recurring segment, What Nintendo Got Right and Wrong in the Switch Generation. This time, it's Justin's turn to take a pick. We're also going to talk about a video that Chris really liked about Sakurai revealing how he organizes his huge gaming collection, and then we're going to answer our big backlog of EGAD's emails. I'm excited to get into it. But first, Justin, you weren't here last week when we talked all about NES, I almost said NES Remix, Nintendo World Championship NES Edition. This is coming out in July, and I wanted to get your take on this game.
Yeah, I am with the old people. I'm excited about it. I'm glad it exists. I think any opportunity to put classics in front of people is something to be embraced. I think that this is our heritage as people who play video games. I think that anything we do that kind of renews that is a positive thing. And adding a different gamification on top of it is cool.
Are you pre-ordering the physical? I know you're not usually a physical gamer.
No, yeah. I have stuff, and I have a lot of stuff, and I am actively trying not to, you should see the shelf in front of me. I'm actively trying not to, add too much more stuff. I was definitely tempted. I would say, in particular, the Famicom edition is really tempting. But no, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be disciplined. I'm gonna hold out.
I'm also entering, don't add to the stuff, but Nintendo's my one exception. That's the one exception that I will still add.
Don't add to the stuff unless it's Nintendo. Also, all your stuff is Nintendo. So, I don't know if you're actually doing anything, Logan.
Yeah, I used to buy physical PlayStation games. That's done. I haven't done that in years.
Well, I don't make games anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
Got him!
Yeah, that was really good. Okay, speaking of getting things wrong, like PlayStation having no games. Justin, what's your pick for what Nintendo got wrong this generation? Actually, real quick, I'll recap the list so far. We've done this twice. Chris and I have each picked. Chris picked that Nintendo got right the hybrid console, and what they got wrong was the lack of a sensor bar and bad motion controls. For what I picked, I said that franchise care has been really good on Nintendo Switch, and I said what they got wrong was the finish it later approach that we saw early on with some of their games. And now, Justin, let's start with the negative. What has Nintendo gotten wrong this generation?
The lack of Starfighter. No, I'm kidding. I'll be honest. I love the Switch. I love gaming on the Switch. I think sports games have been kind of a disaster on the Nintendo Switch. And so that's my picks. I think they absolutely bungled sports across the board this generation. Far too few Mario Sports franchise games that bring in that unique, fun flavor of the Mushroom Kingdom into sports. I think we had like 3 of them this generation as far as like new drops. See, I knew that I could just ask. Like Googling it would be slower and less accurate than just asking Logan. That's what I learned. And on top of that, there's been, despite a just gargantuan number of Switches out there, there's been a real lack of great third-party support for the Switch in sports games. So, we have Mario Golf Super Rush, Mario Tennis Aces, and Mario Strikers Battle League, which is like, the fact that we have those 3 is great. None of them are also amazing. They all kind of hover in the 70s on Metacritic. And outside of Mario Tennis Aces, which seems to be pretty well liked, the other ones are way, way worse when you factor in user reviews. But, where's baseball, right? Where's hoops? Where's, remember Mario Sports Mix? There are so many really cool, fun things we can do. And I think given the size of the install base of the Nintendo Switch and the duration of this generation, I'm frankly pretty disappointed we didn't get to see more from them. And that's before you include the fact that there's no current option for Madden on the Nintendo Switch. The recent FIFA editions have been the PS4 version with updated rosters, but sold at full retail prices. There's no current WWE games on it, if that's what your sports flavor is. There is a giant void there, and I really hope that Nintendo sees this gap and sees the opportunity that this is a big genre that services a lot of really dedicated players that they have a big opportunity to fill into, because it's something that they're frankly just missing.
They do have the show, right? And you've praised the Switch version of the show before. Yeah,
they had the show, which is one of the best sports games around, and it's content complete on the Switch. Again, it's a downgrade in graphics, and sometimes frame rates aren't necessarily as good, but I think it's a really worthwhile way to play the Switch, to play the show on the Switch. They also have NBA 2K series, which is, I think, alongside the show, probably the other contender for every year the best sports game around, and that's kind of a similar thing. But also, that's the same people who do the WWE 2K games, so I'm kind of baffled that they have one and not the other. So it's not to say that there aren't options. There just aren't nearly enough, and I think that that's a problem.
Yeah, and it feels like, in terms of third-party support, sports games and good hardware kind of go hand in hand. I feel like people want to play Madden on their Xboxes or on their PlayStations and not their Switch. I don't know any huge 2K fans that would ever opt to get it on Switch, right? They buy the PlayStation for those sports experiences. So if the next console is a big hardware leap, you might be able to see that. Yeah,
so that's something I would like to see. And you don't necessarily have to always compete from a horsepower standpoint. I just mentioned MLB The Show. It does not look like the Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5 version of it, but that's okay because it's still a fun game to play. You go back to something like the Wii generation, they made bespoke versions for it. And they would take advantage of the unique things that the hardware did in interesting ways. Not always good ways, but interesting ways. And so that's something that I think that they could do as well. I think especially nowadays when it is so difficult, to make a big sports title that makes a lot of money, approaching 150 million Switches by the end of the year is a lot of money for those third parties to leave on the table too. So certainly it's not purely a Nintendo problem. I think Nintendo has missed on this, but I do think the third parties could have been a lot smarter with this too.
Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to my current favorite sports series is Super Mega Baseball. I think those games just they really scratch the Mario Baseball itch that is
They are
missing, or the
extremely
MLB
good.
Power Pros
Yeah.
itch. They're really fun arcadey baseball games that have a ton of content, like a really surprising amount of content. So, but again, I play that on Xbox. They're on Switch, but they run at 30 instead of 60, and I want to play my sports games at 60 specifically. So,
Which is funny because
yeah, but they are
the
out.
characters basically look like 2 steps ahead of a me.
Yeah, they really are.
It's not like
Yeah,
they're going
the
for
last one-
photorealism. Oh, and then the last one added like real players, like legends from the game and things like that. Alongside, like if you're a longtime player of the series, like they have their own characters that they've made that recur that people get attached to, and then you could also
Rip
have
Diggers is my favorite.
right.
It's just the greatest name ever.
They got great names in that. Yeah, Super Mega Baseball 4 is a fun game. I recommend it, folks.
Yeah. And then to bring it back to Nintendo, and this kind of goes to show how forgettable this game was that it hasn't been mentioned yet. Nintendo Switch Sports. They tried to bring Wii Sports back, and that
Forgot.
game is just not good.
Yeah.
They tried, they added golf, it's missing baseball, it was again this Justin's pick for what they got wrong really ties very similarly into mine, the kind of finish it later, because I felt like the sports games all launched unfinished and then they added content to try and get people back in those online lobbies, but by the time the content was all there, the players were gone. So there was never this sweet spot of a great amount of content and a great amount of people playing the game, so it just left all of Nintendo sports titles just feeling kind of I think. And yeah, that is a bummer because Mario Sports used to be great. Chris,
So
you
much
drafted
fun.
Mario Sports in
I did.
our Nintendo franchise draft.
Well, and it's funny because it also ties a little bit into my thing with the motion controls. Like in the Wii era, while that console was like severely underpowered compared to its contemporaries, like the what it did have going for it were those unique features and motion controls because it was such a like novel thing at the time. Like people were interested enough to buy it for someone, like even as a gift on Christmas, because it's like, oh well, Timmy has the Wii, go get him Madden, and he can play as himself with the Eagles. Like that was a very compelling thing for people. I don't see this problem getting better. I'll be honest, because I think what's going to happen is you're going to get into the next generation, and this thing's probably going to be a little bit beefier than the PS4 and Xbox One consoles, base Xbox One, maybe the S, and I think they're going to run into that situation where like all these big publishers are saying like we don't have the bandwidth to be able to. Financially, and they have to uphold their stakeholders to be able to make this like super unique, basically console exclusive. It's not exclusive, but it's like this specifically targeted to one console version. Like it's probably much easier to make a port of Madden from the Series X to PS5 than it is to downgrade it to an earlier generation. And like you're seeing it with Assassin's Creed, like that. That just got announced today, Assassin's Creed Shadow. They're finally abandoning the previous generation. Like that game isn't going to be on prior gen consoles. I think had Nintendo released, within that same year of PS5 and Series X, like you maybe would have gotten a couple years where you did get those sports ports. And if they sold well, then maybe they would have done it. But I don't think they're going to take the risk because the industry's in such a bad state right now with that kind of thing. Like we saw Square Enix report with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where that was a console exclusive. They're losing the shirt off their back over it because it's not multi-platform. There just aren't enough people buying these games on a single platform anymore. It's a shame because like I think you guys are exactly right. Like I think it leaves it to these like single A or like B tier studios to make these like offshoot sports titles that like hopefully they do a good job. Like I used to love the NHL Hits games from Midway.
Oh,
Yeah.
Those games are awesome.
Like it's going to
NFL
take like
Blitz,
those
NBA
types of
Jam,
studios to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like I think you're going to get like those more arcadey types of experiences. And we've seen that on the Switch, like NBA Playgrounds and stuff. I don't know. Like I want it to get better, but maybe you'll get it for a year or two. But if sales are soft, like I don't see it sticking around for very long. I think first party wise though, like they really need to step their game up. Like I'm really disappointed in the way that basically all those games were handled. I think it was them trying, that format, like you mentioned, Logan, where it's like, we'll finish the game later. And maybe, and I've said it before, maybe it's the old man in me, but like, I just don't like playing my games that way. Like, I want to feel like I'm achieving something instead of, oh, cool, I downloaded the update and now I can play as Toadette. Like, that's not how I want to experience Mario Golf. I want to feel like I've earned it.
Yeah, I think that this isn't fully researched or formed thought, but I'm wondering the Wii got a lot of those titles like we were talking about. So did the PS2, and they were on kind of equal ground, and they sold like hotcakes on the PS2. And part of me wonders, did the Wii get a lot of this stuff early on? Before, I guess it was a hot seller kind of right out of the gate, but they were kind of partners. So you weren't just making a SKU for one console like they would if they were making it for Switch. Now it's Wii and PS2, and those numbers had to have been worth it back then. But yeah, now and the technical leap is just so big now of what the beefier consoles are doing.
And the investment to make a game anymore is like so much higher.
Yes.
The risk, like they're much less likely to take that kind of risk. I think that's really what is going to be like, could really hurt Nintendo next generation is just third-party support that is not willing to backport their games. Like if a lot of third parties come out and say, I mean, maybe it doesn't matter as much because this generation, like, but there was enough first party there where they were just cranking it out and indies were supporting it. But I think it's a problem that goes beyond the sports titles. Like and I don't know if there's anything they can do about it. Like, they're not going to ship a beefier system. They're just not.
Yeah. We'll see. They had 60 games that sold over 1 million copies that they published. So hopefully they can keep that up and be fine. But yeah, I think that third-party support will be interesting on the next thing just because games are like not coming out as much anymore. Indie games are and smaller games are, but these big AAA titles just aren't. So yeah,
and that is one of the unique spaces that sports games tend to occupy. It's because they tend to be major releases that happen annually, and that's really unusual in the industry. Now, whether or not that's actually healthy, I think is at best open to debate. But I have to think that if you can open the door to Nintendo, and creating, you do your frankly 9-month development cycle, and getting something on there, I think that behooves you. And I also understand that the Xbox and PlayStation also run on very similar chipsets, whereas Nintendo runs on something very different. So there absolutely are very good technical reasons why we don't see more of these third parties happen. At the same time, as consumers, it's really not our job to make excuses for why these things don't happen. Instead, we should be asking for what we want and making our voices heard.
I do want to defend Mario Tennis Aces. I love that game.
It does seem to be the best of the three.
Is great.
Yeah.
And it has issues. It definitely has issues. The single player mode is not good. Like everyone was super excited, thought they were bringing back an RPG campaign like some of the older Mario sports games had, and then it was not. It was there weren't really RPG mechanics, and it was just kind of
very thin
through. Yeah, it wasn't fun. It really wasn't enjoyable. And the bosses were really easy, but took forever to beat, which is a lethal combination, in my opinion. But just from a raw gameplay perspective, I think Mario Tennis Aces, we ranked it the #1 Mario sports game on a very infamous episode of the Toadstool Boardroom back with Odell. So I adore that game. I think it is so great. And I actually was playing it last week. I was trying to find some matches online, and it's a wasteland out there. I eventually connected with a few people, and we played, but yeah, it's really tough to match. And I wish that there were some better local options and things like that.
Did you just stomp them the way that you did when you and I played?
Yeah, I did. Yes. I adore that game. Yeah, that is my true life on the line game. Like, all right, you need to play a game and you need to win, or something horrible is going to happen to you. Mario Tennis Aces.
Nice.
I don't.
Yeah,
think I'm gonna lose.
and Logan will win.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's absurd.
That game's great. And then Mario Strikers Battle League. We've talked about that one a lot on this show. I had a weird experience with that one since I got it early to do the guide for that one. So I had to get really good at that game, and it's really complex, like way more complex than a Mario sports game should be. But I loved it because I really got used to all its mechanics, and I was so excited for it to launch because I thought everyone was going to love it like I did. And then it came out, and people were like, "This is not the pick up and play experience that I want." And still one of the funniest moments on this show to this day is when Chris talked about clenching his butt when he was sitting in bed playing this game. Just trying to win a NPC tournament. He wasn't even playing a human opponent.
Amazing.
It was the Galaxy. It was like the last cup.
Mm-hmm.
And I was laying in bed, and my wife's just going, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm playing Mario Strikers. I'm trying to win." She's like, "You keep clenching your butt. It's keeping me awake."
Yeah, I think of that anytime I see that game. Yeah, that's
stressed
a really
Put that on the back of the box.
Pick, Justin.
Yeah.
Butt clenching action.
A real butt
clenching action.
Yeah, the Toadstool Wardrobe.
Sounds great. Yeah, hit us up for the Nintendo Selects version, Nintendo. All right, Justin, flipping to the positive side, what's something that Nintendo got right in the Switch generation?
Ooh, this is one that I'm really excited they got right too. I think Nintendo has been crushing it on merchandise. They have
nice. That's
so much cool stuff out there. The Lego kits, amazing. So many cool Lego kits. You can go to like Hot Topic or other retailers and find a ton of Nintendo official clothing. Like there's a really cool line of Zelda shirts that just came out. Well, there's one that I want to get that's got like the Korok peeking out of the pocket and around the back and things like that. You can like at Target, you can get like officially licensed plushies and things like that. We've got a bunch of them around the house. I don't know if I mentioned it on this show, but like we have this thing in our house where we have a bunch of Goombas of various sizes, and we just hide them in different places to like sneak up on people. And so like, you open like, I don't know, like the cookie jar and you get Goomba'd, and like that's just a saying in this house.
So cute.
There's awesome figurines and statues that you can get. You can get things like, I was looking at this, like, I'm not a big Pokemon fan, but there's this really cool pair of like official Gengar shoes that you can get that like with all like the purple tones all over and things like that, and like the face where the tongue is and stuff. I just saw like a deals post for like some NES cartridge coasters and things like that. There's so much cool stuff you can get, and it is all good quality, well thought out, and in particular, at least like to my eyes, it reflects this idea that Nintendo is keenly aware that their audience, who grew up with this stuff in the 80s or 90s or 2000s, has grown up and is at a point where like we're adults now, and we can spend a little bit of money on buying things that we like and that look cool and that reflect our personalities. And, I mentioned like heritage as people who play video games, things like that. Like I like going out wearing like I have a Zelda tank top. I like wearing my Zelda tank top because I like people recognize the Triforce on the front of it and they're like, yeah. And, we share that. And it is something where like, there is such a cultural impact to video games and Nintendo in particular. And the more that we can, have things that, let us reflect our personalities and things like that is a super positive thing. And so I think that this is something that historically getting like Nintendo merchandise of any quality has been tough. I'm old enough to remember how big a deal it was when Super Mario Bros. 3 had Happy Meal toys, and just getting that stuff was a big freaking deal. And so the fact that we live in this golden age now is awesome, and I hope they keep it up, and I want to see this just continue to grow and do more, and it's not all locked behind getting points in your Nintendo account and doing all these things. It's accessible to everybody, and I love it. I think it's in a great place, and I really want this to be something that they just continue to double down on.
I have noticed so many just like kids when I'm walking around public places wearing Super Mario t-shirts.
Dude, my son has a Mario Kart hoodie. I don't even know where he got it.
That's awesome. Just found it at school. Came home wearing it.
Something like that.
Yeah, they're totally killing it, and this is something we praised them for on the show before. Like the Mario Kart Hot Wheels line, what a genius partnership!
I have 4 Mario Kart Hot Wheels all parked right next to the dock for my Switch OLED.
Awesome, that's super cool. They're really good quality too. They look cool. The carts.
Yeah,
look
we
great.
we got them with a little track that has a ramp, and so like they shoot great and they roll really really well. And so
if your kids are old enough, they're good quality. I'll say that.
I mean, my kids are old enough that they're probably not going to choke on them. Now, I haven't tested to see if they taste like a Switch cartridge, and so I don't know if they're following safety protocols on that stuff. But yeah, we got them, I think, as stocking stuffers this year, just to help fill out the bounty that comes every Christmas in this house.
Yeah, the fact that it's even an option is like the exciting side of it.
It's so cool.
The Hot Wheels ones, what stinks about them is because of the proportions of the characters and like whatever plastic they're made out of. My nephew has like every one. Probably a quarter of them don't have heads. 'Cause they've all
they stick out quite a bit.
yeah, like the necks are so thin on them, and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
all right,
like,
Luigi lost his head too.
The plastic's really lightweight, and the Hot Wheel cars are like metal and heavy, so I can see how they can easily get have unfortunate accidents.
Yeah, he's a little rough with his stuff too. So that could be part of it.
I'm sure that's a factor too.
Yeah.
But like, well, even look at things like the great Zelda books that we can get for things now, and like my arm is going this way because there's two of them right up there, right? And
which
like
Hyrule Historia and Creating a Champion,
and the one that comes with the Tears of the Kingdom special edition.
Oh, the special edition. Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, and like
you see that they just revealed those Tears of the Kingdom, the Masterworks, like 400 pages.
Yep. Yes. Oh man, did you see all the different like Zelda haircut options that we could have gone with and things like that? Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy that book. That looks really, really cool.
And those things exist,
I don't really buy
and you can buy them, and we know about them because they gather this stuff and they put it into books that can be purchased, and you can read about it. And that was not a thing before.
No, I mean the most exciting thing that we had was the instruction manual.
Oh, right.
Like, that was like I remember bringing like the Banjo-Kazooie instruction manual around with me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like to show people and talk about it.
Exactly.
Because it was all we could do.
I still miss instruction manuals.
Me too.
I really do. Like I understand the practicality of it, but I do miss them. They're so nice. And yeah, I was just flipping through some of my GameCube games the other day, and just some of the cool manuals that come in there are just so awesome, and I do miss them. And now I guess actually I was thinking about it. We have official website. Every game, like Nintendo does a really nice job of launching a website, and I actually made the connection. Oh, this is what would be in the manual. Like they're right. Oh, the Splatoon one is writing about Inkopolis and how cool it is, and all the different clothing brands. Like that's what would be in the manual. So we kind of have it, but it's not the same. It's not the same as cracking open a manual on the car ride home after you just got some new exciting Nintendo game.
The only other piece of merch I want them to make is a Roomba in the shape of Samus's gunship.
That sounds so good.
Boom. Done.
Just strap one of those first 4-figure ones on top of it. They're only like $1,000, right?
It's so heavy it would crush the Roomba. It would weigh it down.
Sure.
Yeah.
I had some. Oh, did you guys see the leak for the fourth time that this thing is leaked? Of apparently we're getting a Lego Deku Tree set from The Legend of Zelda in September.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of that. I don't know how real or official they are, but like I'm down. Like if again, I really want them to open the door to a lot of Zelda Lego. Yes. I would be extremely on board with that. When like
the problem,
I saw advertisements for like a cool replica Master Sword and things like that. There's stuff and it's great.
Yeah. The problem is I want it all. Like,
right.
I don't know where, like, Lego is one of those things you build it, and then it's like, oh my god, like, I have, how many Lego sets am I going to display in my house? Like, I want them all to exist so badly, but I also want to buy them all.
The show opens with me talking about how I don't want more stuff, and then my topic is, look at all this great stuff they've got.
Yeah, look at all this great stuff. Cool stuff. Yeah, I thought about that, too. That's pretty funny. But I know, the Lego sets are so awesome, and I've had to pick and choose. I have the NES and the Bowser, which you can both see.
The Bowser's so cool.
Version. Yeah. And they're so awesome. And the Bowser was such a fun build, but I see the Piranha Plant, and I'm like, I like it, but it's
not a bad price.
No, it's totally a cheap price.
I keep almost buying the Piranha Plant.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, me too. I keep telling my girlfriend, don't buy me the Piranha Plant. I don't need it. I don't want it. Because it seems like something that somebody in my life would buy me. It's just such a slam dunk choice. But I'm like, no, I'm not going to build this thing.
It looked great sitting on that CRT right behind you.
Yep. Yes.
Perfect spot for it.
Wait, is that a Lego Link? What is that?
Oh, you've asked me about that on the show before. Yeah, I don't recall specifically where it comes from. Like, I'm sure it's not like an official thing because I don't think they ever did one, and I don't recall what the source is for that guy. But yeah, there's totally a Lego Link up there with a little Hylian shield and Master Sword, right next to my boy Luigi.
Okay, so here's a good question. Wait, we had this listener question actually recently. Somebody asked us if we could add one piece of Nintendo merch, what would it be? And I already forgot my answer.
Samus Gunship Roomba. Hello.
Samus Gunship Roomba. Yeah, that one's really good.
And then I just got to put like a little Vario suit helmet on my cat on top. Away we go.
Sounds pretty great. Yeah, they need to go into pet costumes. That's the new answer. Something I will say I'm bummed about on the merch front. I think Amiibo is done, and that breaks my heart. I think it's over. I think that just the streak of first-party games that haven't even mentioned it, haven't even had compatibility with old ones, let alone got their own lines. Like Mario Wonder, Princess Peach, no amiibo for these things. We're done. Pack it up.
Yeah, man,
It's over.
they could have made so many amiibo for Princess Peach Showtime.
Yes, yeah, they could have done a full
Yeah.
set of all 10 transformations. And Elephant Mario is right there. I
Right.
can't believe that there's no Elephant
That's
Mario.
when we knew it was
Yeah,
over.
it
Was when there was no Elephant Mario amiibo.
So that's a bummer because they're still just by far my favorite Nintendo merchant. Yeah, I'm bummed that that's done. But yeah,
I
you're totally
do-
right, Justin.
I appreciate the fact that they have partnered with First Four figures to make some of the more like premium stuff. Like I have one of the, I have the Luigi's Mansion. Like it's just him with. There's one
so
with a
good.
polter pup and one without. But like the quality of that thing is like it's probably the highest quality figure that I have. Just like looking at it, it sticks out compared to some of the other stuff that I have. But it only comes out at Halloween.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a
It'll be
Halloween
out all the time.
decoration.
You should put it behind you.
I should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to figure out. Obviously, I changed it recently, but I'm trying to figure out what I do and don't want.
Yeah, the only first four thing I have is the Majora's Mask that you can see behind me, but and it's like the cheaper one that they made, like it's like $80 instead of like the $500 or whatever that the huge
Yeah.
one is. But yeah, I love it. It's such good quality, and yeah, they need to do more stuff like that. I just got a little bit disappointed with some of them in the last few years that the first four figures are just the same poses as the amiibo that I already have. All four Zelda champions from Breath of the Wild, they all got first four figures, and it's just the amiibo poses. So I'll stick to the $12 figure for those guys instead of going for the pricier one. But it's still cool they exist for people who do want them. Do you see that Master Sword? There's like a full-size
It's like a
Master
$200
Sword.
Master Sword.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Man.
who's getting it? I'm not.
I mean, this
I'm
is
not. I have one.
Just like, you could just go right there.
Yeah. You have one, Chris?
yeah. Hold on, I'll see if I
Yeah,
can find it.
but he got his the right way. He collected 3 like pendants and pulled it out of a pedestal. So
Yeah. And then he froze for 7 years.
He did.
He was ready to wield
he
it.
he did and emerged fully bearded and in glasses. That's what his time skip looked like.
And that was the day the boardroom started. He was finally ready.
That's right. When he awoke.
Mature. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We're waiting for Chris to come back with his Master Sword. I don't know how long he's going to be gone.
In the other timeline, he's already back, and we're not just filling dead space right now.
Yeah. He was actually just gone for a year tracking it down.
Okay, I went to Hyrule and I pulled this from the stone. No,
I was beginning to
So
wonder if you
this
were
was-
in the Lost Woods somewhere.
yeah. So this was one. Take a guess at what you think I paid for this. This is a real sword. Like,
Oh my god!
What? Oh my gosh.
like
Chris just unsheathed a blade live on the podcast.
All right, don't hurt yourself. My
There
goodness!
If you, I don't know if you'll be able to see.
Oh my! It's even etched with the like little crest there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So
So extra.
when Wario 64 first started like tweeting, or at least when I first found him, I guess this is like years ago. This was one of the things that he put out. It was 24 cents on a price error on Amazon. I don't know who made it. I don't know where it came from, but they shipped it. I was like, I'll take that.
Insane.
Yeah, I was like, I'll take that chance. Let's see if it shows up. And then it did. Like, for a while, I would keep it. Like, you know how people keep, like, baseball bats next to their bed? I would keep this.
Oh, don't bring the Shriver home.
Yeah.
Especially not if you're a bokoblin. That is not the place to be.
Yeah. Zero chance if a bokoblin tries to break in and steals my copy
It's
of
over.
Earthbound.
24
Bokoblins
cents.
do love Earthbound.
That's crazy. They never work. Those price error things always get canceled.
Right? Exactly. They always
Yeah.
cancel them, but I guess they came through.
Yeah. It showed up. I was like, oh my God, I have like a real sword now. I
So-
did not plan on this happening.
So clearly I've been playing Zelda wrong because I've been putting in way too much effort to get my Master Sword. All I had to do was pay 24 cents plus shipping and handling.
Yeah, that is that's awesome Shriver lore.
That is the Shriver lore. That's how he became the champion of time.
That's right.
Justin, great picks. So we'll add to our list what Nintendo got right, merchandise, what they got wrong, sports games. That's fun. We'll do a round 2 at some point. I'm kind of anticipating some slow weeks in the lead up to the June Nintendo Direct. So yeah, we'll have some fun times to talk about this stuff. But let's move on to topic 2, which is Masahiro Sakurai reveals how he organizes his huge gaming collection. It's a very merch and stuff centric episode this week, apparently. Oops. And Chris, you shared this video with us this morning and said we need to talk about this on the podcast. So I watched the video. It is I just love Sakurai.
This is the cutest thing on the internet.
He's so funny.
He's amazing. Yeah. So Chris, why did you want to talk about this video?
I just think it's adorable. Like, it's this guy that, we talk about in such a high regard, and deservedly so. The man has done, tremendous things for the gaming industry and Nintendo fans. But to see, he is a capital G AMER. Like, this man is a gamer. He has a very extensive collection, and he's calculated and that's probably the best word I can pick. He's very calculated in how he has all this stuff organized, and he's trimmed the fat, which I respect. It's something that I'm trying to go through myself. I have most of these boxes are cases that are empty. They're the games I have put in booklets similar to how he kind of shows this off, and I just haven't found the strength to let go of it yet. He's got it all figured out, man. And then he has 2 custom. That was the other thing I really respected too, was the HDMI and power setup was just this is exactly what I would do if I had the time and money. He has an HDMI splitter between 2 TVs in the same room, a custom cabinet so everything can breathe, and he can swap consoles in and out super easily. He got everything right in terms of how to make this stuff easily accessible for him to get to.
Yeah, hopefully we can link it in the description. The video is awesome. He goes by console generation by console generation. He's not doing just Nintendo stuff. If you want to see how he stores his Mega Drive games, watch this video. And everything down to how he labels them and keeps track of them. And it is so funny because as I watch this video, the only thing I can think of is he might be the other Chris Shriver.
That's great.
He's Japanese development Chris Shriver.
He is. He
and I'm American IT
exactly.
Chris Shriver.
You are 2 sides of the same coin, because all of what does he do with cases? How does he label them? What order does he put things in? What happens if things don't fit properly? All thought out. All extra as heck.
Yep.
It's perfect. Kindred spirits.
Yeah. I think that admittedly, I'm not as good at keeping up with this YouTube channel as I should be. I watched all of it for the first 6 months, but then I've been kind of in and out of it, and I need to get back and catch up on everything I haven't seen, because this is one of if you're a Nintendo fan, I think this is one of the coolest things on the internet right now. It is just unprecedented access to undoubtedly one of the greatest minds that's ever worked at Nintendo, and he's talking about all the games he's ever developed. He's talking about why it was time for him to quit his YouTube channel and opening up about his process about that, which I found very insightful too. He's talking about how he organizes his statues. He's telling you everything. This is more than I think we've ever learned about anybody that works at Nintendo, and it's Sakurai who is a genius, and it's so cool. If you haven't watched his YouTube series, you have to. It's required reading.
If you need tips on how to store the UMDs for your PSP, here's your guy.
Yeah,
Sakurai was going to tell you. Would you have ever guessed?
Literally going to tell you that.
Masahiro Sakurai was going to tell you how to do it. I wouldn't have.
Or the Famicom, cartridges in the tape deck.
Yep. Yeah, literally.
He's I had a tough time tracking these down
perfectly.
Yeah. It's man, I respect this so much.
Well, and
at the end of the video when he shows the Pyramithra statue that were this topic of a bunch of memes after the Smash Brothers video that introduced them. And he's like, and of course I have the Pyramithra statues from that Smash Brothers video that we did. And I just thought that was funny because people were talking about that on the internet for a couple days after that video. He is paying attention. He sees what people are talking about online.
And I will say, it's not a lecture. It's not just good information, but he is funny and charming and extremely fun to watch.
Yeah. He's just got that very calculated is a great were calculated, dry sense of humor. He is legitimately funny, and I always thought that in his Smash Brothers Sakurai Presents videos. And now that he's doing his own thing, you can see, oh yeah, he was the one scripting those. He was doing everything for those videos. Just like now, he's doing everything. This man's crazy. He's awesome. I can't wait to see what he does next because he's making something. It's probably Smash Brothers, right? Do we all think it's Smash Brothers? Because I do.
I'd like it to be.
I would like it to be that or Kid Icarus.
Oh yes,
we'll see.
Yeah,
One of the top comments on that video, I just have to shout it out because I laughed like super hard in public when I read it. If your Sega Saturn isn't chilling in an Egyptian sarcophagus in your living room, then what is even?
That's great.
Yeah,
that's really fantastic. But check out Sakurai's YouTube channel. It's so cool. Let's get into EGAD's emails. We have a bunch to get to. You can email the show toadstoolboardroom@gmail.com, and we'll answer your question right here on the show. This first one comes from Derek, who says, "Hello, Logan mentioned last episode, several episodes ago now, that it feels like no one but Nintendo can pull off a Zelda game. But is it cheating to cite Oracle of Seasons and Ages and the Minish Cap developed by Flagship/Capcom?" And I have a couple things to get into first before I turn it over to you guys. Nintendo is they are so protective over their games that when they give a franchise to another developer, they are almost to the point where they're a co-developer on it. Metroid Prime, there are so many interviews out there. There's this YouTube channel called Kiwi Talks, and he used to ping me on Twitter after he'd post a new video to asked me to go through it to see if there were any news angles to write when I was freelancing for news at IGN. So I've watched so many of this guy's interviews that he's done with so many people that used to be at Retro in the early 2000s, and they say Nintendo basically has the final say on anything that we do. They see it, they give us feedback. People fly in from NCL out of Japan to Texas, where Retro is, to see how the studio's going and work there for several weeks. They are really, really involved. It's not the same as just handing a franchise off to someone and seeing what happens. I'm sure the same it happens with Metroid Dread when they give it to Mercury Steam. I'm sure the same happened on these Zelda games. We know the same happened on Metroid Prime 4 because Nintendo pulled the plug when they didn't like what they saw. They said, no, we're done with this. So they keep a close eye on anything involved in their projects. So when I say that only Nintendo can make a Zelda game, or a studio they trust that they heavily oversee, they can also make a Zelda game. So, yeah, that's what I think. But, Jess, do you have any thoughts on this, on who can make Zelda games?
Yeah, well, I mean, and kind of to add to that, like, yeah, Capcom, I think, might be the best third-party developer on the planet. And so, like, if there is anybody who can do that, it's them. And so it's not a surprise that they were able to sort of tap into that. Like, they have a lot of similar sensibility in terms of being exceptionally technically proficient, also having like a little bit of that like whimsy on top of a cool factor that I think is kind of hard to actually pull off for a lot of folks. And so I think that they could definitely do it. You look at what they've done with their series recently. Like they just released their most recent numbers for things like Monster Hunter and things like that. And while the entire rest of the industry is shrinking and constricting, having a lot of trouble, they just release banger after banger after banger, and they're extremely successful. And even things that like what was that like dinosaur portal horde shooter game or whatever that they came out with?
Exoprimal?
Yeah, it's Exoprimal. Like even things like that, like weird out of left field, like actually does really well because they make a really good game, and the reviews tend to be actually pretty positive for this very, very strange game. So I think that they could pull it off, and it's not a surprise that they've done it before. I also think that the list of people who could do that is exceptionally small. I don't think there are many developers on the planet, even under the like Eye of Sauron style gaze of Nintendo, could actually put together something, especially for a premier franchise like Zelda. But they could. But again, it's a perfect mix of having the right amount of support and, frankly, having just that very, very rare studio who actually has the chops to do it.
And I will say, going back to the 3 Zelda games that Capcom did handle, and I've said this on the show before, Hidemaru Fujibayashi, who just directed Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, he was the director of those 3 handheld Zeldas. And then Nintendo basically hired him after that. I'm looking at his works right now. He made Minish Cap at Capcom. His next game, Phantom Hourglass at Nintendo. And he's been on Zelda and with Nintendo ever since. So, yeah, it was almost feels like a trial run for him before they brought him fully into the fold at Nintendo, and he handled these 3 Zelda games, and they all turned out really, really well. So I would love to see them hand out Zelda to somebody again, though.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I mean, the important thing to keep in mind that illustrates is that video games aren't made by studios; they're made by people, and who makes games matters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's also like a ramp.
On this?
I think that ramp up period that you mentioned is like super important, and I think it's something that is going to be interesting to watch them navigate in this new landscape with Zelda. Like we keep talking about like whether or not they'll ever do another like top down 2D Zelda or anything like say Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom at this point. And if the answer is no, then like how do you prepare someone for that who is new to this franchise? Like your options as far as pulling in somebody like to direct that from an experience level is probably pretty limited, because they're probably going to go with somebody from a Japanese studio, and it's going to be somebody with open world experience. So it's like, okay, the guys that worked on Elden Ring, like who are you tapping into?
From Software's sake on it, nice.
Yeah, like you from a just training standpoint, like if you want to have those people that you can, like there's resources that you can kind of like build up their skill sets over time and really have them like be committed to the company over the years. You kind of need those experiences, like those smaller scale ones, to kind of get them exposed to those franchises that are so important to a company like Nintendo.
Yeah. And I think you can see Nintendo's influence on the studios it works with just in the quality of that studio's games that are with Nintendo and not with Nintendo. And I think Mercury Steam is a fantastic example. They made some not so great Castlevania games on 3DS that it was received extremely poorly. People hated that game. And then they made Samus Returns, and then they made Metroid Dread. And there's something to be said about a studio improving its craft over time also, if it is the same staff there. So they tried with Castlevania, it didn't go too great. They probably learned a lot. They made Samus Returns, which was received fairly well, and then they made Dread, which was received very, very well. So you can see that. But also, I think that working with Nintendo is probably different, and you probably learn things. We have seen developers say, I saw the inner workings of Nintendo and it blew my mind. They do things completely differently over there, and people have been inspired by that and gone off to develop games in their own ways for that. And I think Nintendo probably imparts those things to a studio like Next Level Games, or to a studio like Grezzo, who they worked with on a bunch of Zelda stuff, and then they worked with them on Ever Oasis, which was their own game that they made, and Miitopia, and stuff like that. So I think that also, if you're working on a Nintendo game, you probably bust your butt to make that game good, I would have to guess. If they hand you the keys to Metroid, you're going to make sure you make a good game so they come knocking again. And I think Mercury Steam has done that. And yeah, love to see. They got to pick someone to farm Zelda out, too. It can't just be 6 years in between the open world games with ports in between. They have to do something with it, and I think they will. Yeah, that was a fun question. Let's see. This one comes from Tim, who says, with Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door coming up, that's next week, I'm asking for a deep dive into your lower-key Mario likes. In the event The Thousand Year Door sells enough to persuade Nintendo to return to the more alternative angle of the Mushroom Kingdom for future installments, what would the boardroom's dream cast be for Mario's new party? A Chain Chomp is my number one choice, but something more deep cut like one of those Easter Island heads from Mario Land would be cool to see. So yeah, we were just talking a lot about Mario Sports and installments like that, and the rosters were fairly safe, I think, on Switch. You had some weird characters like Ninja got into Mario Golf, but nothing I would consider I guess Charge and Chuck 2 was a fun one, but there's definitely some room for some deeper cuts. Justin, what do you think?
Ooh, yeah, there's a few things of that I would love to see. I think thwomps are badly underrepresented, and I would, man, how fun would it be to roll in with like a thwomp in your party and like think of all the different attacks that they could do and all the different ways that they could crush.
I can think of one attack they would do. I can think of exactly one. And that's it. That's all.
Oh man, even like or a thwimp. Like, how funny would a thwimp be as like your go-to party member?
What's a thwimp? What is that?
They're the tiny ones.
Is that what they're called?
A tiny thwomp is a thwimp.
I did not know that. That's so funny. Yeah, I know about womps and thwomps.
Yep. Nope.
Are there wimps?
No, Logan, that's ridiculous.
Okay, sorry. So sorry.
Yeah, so like anytime, like yeah, so like like play Super Mario World, like you see that you got the giant like thwomps that come down, and see like the little thwips that jump back and forth. Yeah, I would love to roll with my homie the Swimp at my side. Like we'll take on all comers, man. We got this. So that's something that I would definitely like to see. But I would also like there's a lot of things from like their back like discography that I adore that I wish we saw more of. Like it is like Kurobu's shoe from Super Mario Brothers 3 shows up in like one freaking level. I want to see that used a lot more. I would love for us to do more with things like the Tanuki and the Tanuki powers and things like that. So like yeah, there's a lot of stuff, and in particular like I think if you started pulling from like the older Marios and like what if my party had just a Hammer Bro in it? Give me a stinking Hammer Bro, just like my homie, all suited up, chucking his little his ball
I've never
beams.
done that in Paper Mario. That's crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So Tim, my answer to this question is a lot.
Yeah. So Thwomp is such a hilarious choice because now I'm seeing it follow Paper Mario around, and it has to like hop and then crush down and then hop and crush down to follow Mario because that's how Thwomp's.
That's that move, yeah.
That's such a funny choice, and yeah, Hammer Bros are awesome. That'd be a good one too, and their moves could be like fireballs and boomerangs. They could do
all sorts of
Hammer Bro
choices.
things
Yeah.
in one. Yeah, those are really fun picks. How about you, Chris? Who are Paper Mario's new companions?
I want Tatanga from the Super Mario Land series for sure. He's the little alien guy. We've never like seen him since then. I want Lanky Kong back for no reason other than I miss Lanky Kong. Just let him smack people around with those really long arms. And Anthony Scapelli from the Super Mario Brothers movie. I think that's a really good pick. An alternative to Foreman Spike. Just have a businessman walk around with him. And just try to sabotage with words instead of actual attacks. Just make people feel bad about themselves with like a New York attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, his special power is litigation.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that. That sounds fun to me. Yeah. I think that, so I've been thinking about it, and the same time that Nintendo stopped doing really creative stuff in their Mario RPGs was kind of around the time Super Mario Galaxy came out. So from that point of Mario onwards, we don't really have a Mario RPG that pulls from all those characters. Like there's no Luma partner ever in a Mario RPG party. That'd be a really fun one. Something like Cappy, like one of the Hat Ghosts, I think are really cute for Mario Odyssey.
That would be cute.
Or Mario Wonder just introduced literally dozens of new enemies that a lot of them are really, really awesome. I love the guys that cower in fear and then jump at the same time that Mario jumps. They're called Hoppy Cats, which is a really cute name. I love the roller, what are they called? The roller derby Koopa Troopas. I don't remember, but they're on roller skates and they're really, really funny and cute. But yeah, something from Mario Wonder I think would be fun because that game introduced so many cool enemies that I would like to see again. I don't want them to be a one-off. So set a Paper Mario game in the Flower Kingdom, and then you can just pull from all those awesome enemies that game added.
Just give me the nihilistic Luma from the movie.
Oh, yeah. That'd be fun. Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah, I really hope the Thousand Year Door spurs Intelligent Systems to make basically a Paper Mario 3 with...
Yep, let's make a new one from scratch.
Yes. Yeah, but just follow up on what the first two did because they're just such classics. Okay, and what RPG did? I'll throw some love there. I liked Mario RPG. It didn't have enough partners for me though. I really love the partners in Paper Mario 1 and 2.
Give me a Maw from Mario Wonder. They're the ones that eat people.
Those things are so scary.
Those little like,
that's eat the Goombas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fun.
Yeah. I want, I was thinking about this. I want Paper Mario and Luigi, and I don't mean Paper Jam. I mean, what if they just combined the two series and did a Paper Mario game where your main sidekick was Luigi, and it was like Mario and Luigi? I think that would be cool. Because
they could both factor heavily into the story and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, would you have a Paper Luigi or like a 3D Luigi? Like, how did I
Paper
get
Luigi.
Paper Mario
it's
and
a Paper
Luigi.
Mario game. Yeah, I know. Paper Jam muddles things because they did that. But I'm talking just a complete Paper Mario game, but where Luigi is in the party. I think that would just be
cool.
really fun. Yeah. This next question comes from Mike, who says, "Hey, Chairman, as someone, this is to me an unhinged question. I don't know. I was kind of shocked when I read it. Hey, Chairman, as someone who frequently writes into a podcast about cooking and eating Pokemon, I was wondering which Nintendo character you would most like to cook and eat. How and why?" I don't know.
Chelsea looks so sad.
I mean, I personally do really like the taste of mushrooms. So, Toad,
Me
my
too.
dude, I hate to break it to you, you're gonna be like my little shiitake mushroom burger, bro.
But it's just a hat, right? He could take that off, and we could just cook the hat.
You know what, Logan? That's not a risk I'm willing to take. We're gonna have to go all in on this one.
Oh no. Okay, so you have to answer also. How are you cooking, Toad?
There we go. Shiitake mushroom burger. Like,
Okay.
they make excellent. Like, trust me, I'm not a vegetarian, but I do like dip my toes in like vegetarian food now and then. And like a mushroom burger is a delicious way to eat it. Eat the rest just like a burger. You know, a little bit like ketchup, lettuce, tomato on top of it. A proper bun, some fries on the side. We're good to go.
Yeah. That's poor Toad. Is it just some run-of-the-mill Toad? Is it Captain Toad? Toadsworth. He's aged. He's an aged
No. It's Toad.
Okay.
It must
So
be
the Toad.
Toad. Yes.
It is the Toad.
It is the Toad.
But who is the Toad? Is there
Keegan-Michael Key?
the Toad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because is there a Toad that? I think there is a Yoshi. There's a main Yoshi that hangs out with them. I think.
And there absolutely is a main Toad. There was one in the movie. There was absolutely one in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, which is the Mario canon. Let's be honest.
Okay. Yeah. I think now though the Toad is Captain Toad. He's the Toad.
I think no. I think your Wii U upbringing is what is making you think that. I think your generation's. I think your generation's Toad. Yeah, I think your generation's Toad is the Captain
That's
Toad.
why I said the modern Toad.
No, that's not the modern Toad. I think the modern Toad is Michael Key.
Yeah.
Michael Key.
He's Captain Toad. He wears a backpack with a map. He is Captain Toad without the headlight.
He does not have a flashlight on his hat.
We will
he is
see
no captain
in the next
to me.
movie
It
if
plays
he
the
is
Captain
Captain
Toad theme when he appears in the movie. It plays the Captain Toad
He
song.
might become Captain Toad, but as of now,
could.
in the year of our mushroom 2024, he is not yet Captain Toad.
I think Captain Toad is Toad now. We'll see in the next Mario Kart. If
Yeah,
it's
next year,
Toad
tell
or
me
not.
Bruce Wayne is Batman. Get out of here with this crazy conspiracy talk.
Okay. Anyways, back to this question, Chris. Who are you cooking and eating, and how and why?
I don't know what they're called. Who are the little guys with the buttons? They're like little ninja-looking guys.
Ninja.
Oh, a ninja, yeah. So it's definitely a ninja. I'm probably putting them, just like a string of them on a kebab. Just actually no. I'll grab my Zelda sword and then just like kebab them all through that and just twirl them over a campfire for about 8 to 10 hours by hand. Maybe I'll slather some curry sauce on there for good measure, some barbecue on another.
So
And just
what do you
peel.
think a ninja tastes like?
Like a spongy, pulled pork sandwich. Imagine a pulled pork sandwich fighting back.
Like
that's
brisket.
what I imagine. yeah, kind of. But like you bite into it and it just bounces in your mouth, and
Nice.
your mouth just keeps
Yeah.
going like this. Yeah.
Okay, I don't even know how to answer this question. This is all intelligent life.
They're all so good
for-
looking.
and I, like certainly we just have to accept. Listen, our plane crashed. We're about to starve. We got to make a choice. I happen to have the fixies for a burger
no.
on hand. Toes looking scrumptious.
Okay.
Okay. Are you
There's
telling
an out
me
for this.
if you're abandoned in like the Hebra Mountains and starving, Cass doesn't start to seem a little delicious?
I am telling you that. Yeah, I don't. That's brutal. Okay, if I have to pick,
You do.
I'll tell you that a lot of the in Splatoon you can buy the meal tickets from his name's Sean, I think, and he's just a tempura shrimp. He literally is a sentient tempura shrimp, so he is food. So he'd probably be pretty good. Uh, and I think he probably already is cooked. So I don't know if I
Krusty
have to
Sean.
cook. Krusty Sean. Yep.
Do you think
So-
Ganon
Oh,
tastes like
he
pork?
does look good.
Yeah, he's just tempura.
Do I think who tastes like pork?
I'm just like, is Ganon bacon a bad idea or a great idea?
Phenomenal
again, That's a
idea.
great idea.
Just saying.
Wait, what did Chris say?
I was gonna say the cows from Moo Moo Farms, but I feel like that's kind of like a cop out.
I know you could just say like the fish from Tears of the Kingdom is just
You cheap.
Oh, I thought of them, and I thought they were possibilities. I went with Toad.
okay. Okay, this isn't a character, but I'd love to eat some of those Goron rocks that they're always talking so much about. The rocks.
Right,
let me
Link makes
bite
him look
into that and
delicious.
break my teeth.
He liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't get the weird drugged up ones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's one of my favorite things I did in Tears of the Kingdom was I built a ship out of rock roasts and delivered it to the restaurant. And it was because I had this epiphany in Tears of the Kingdom where I was like, I don't need to build a cart to transport these rock roasts. I can
rock
build a
roasts
cart out
are
of
the
rock
cart.
roasts. Yeah, and I flew that thing around, and it was awesome.
Hey man, I played Tears of the Kingdom. Anything is card if you put wheels on it.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, like this in the Lurelin Village quest, where you have to deliver the logs. I just slapped some wheels on 8 logs that I glued together and drove them down there. Here you go. Yeah, I missed that game. Yeah. Okay, we have one more question. I'm going to be honest. I'm not prepared to answer it. Are either of you prepared to talk about Second Wind, or do we need to do some research and talk about this one?
I can talk about this.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
Chris.
So this one comes from, I was banking that Chris would know. This one comes from TJ, friend of the show. He was on our Amiibo episode from 2023. Go check it out. Awesome stuff. Who says, greetings to the best Nintendo podcast around. TJ here. I might know my way around customizing Amiibo, but I know nothing about modding a video game. Perhaps Justin and Chris might be able to offer their thoughts on a fan-made Zelda mod I recently came across called Second Wind. I generally have no interest in unofficial content related to my all-time favorite franchise, but then I saw a video of someone taming a Lionel and registering it to the stable. That sounds really awesome. I realized this is all I want in life, but the sad fact is I don't even know how I would begin to go about experiencing this thrilling new content. Are you familiar with Second Wind? If you wanted to play it, how might you accomplish that? If possible, please describe your process as if you're explaining it to a 3rd grader. Many thanks. Your extra expertise is much appreciated. And then a quick PS from TJ. Kevin is right. I have 100% of Breath of the Wild on Wii U and Switch. With the exception to portability, Wii U is undisputedly the superior version. It's almost like the game was specifically developed for that platform or something. And then there's a little winky face. Very nice. Yeah.
Nice. Well,
Wii U forever. All right, Chris, take it away. Second Wind.
So Second Wind, and this is not exclusive to Second Wind, but this question's from a couple weeks ago, so bear with me if I get any of this wrong, because I looked it up like shortly after TJ emailed us. So Second Wind is a Zelda mod for Breath of the Wild, and there are other mods for other games that work similarly to this, but generally what you'll find is like there is going to be a mod that's published usually on GitHub, and they're going to give you like a README that basically tells you how to set this up and what it's capable of, right? So like some of them, it's like you can only play this on CMU, which is like the Wii U emulator, and you know, you need every one of these. You have to provide your own copy of the game, so obtained through legal means. So you need to be able to, you know, have that on your computer. Second Wind is one that you can play on a Wii U. Back in the day, you can. I think it needs to be a modded Wii U, but you can do it. You have to patch the game yourself, though, on a PC. So you would need the Breath of the Wild file, like game file. I can't remember. I don't think they're ISOs. There's some other type of format, but that README does say like what the file extension is. So if you manage to get a copy of it, they have a walkthrough where they will basically explain to you, okay, if you're doing it on PC, this is where these are the steps you need to follow to go do that. And then if you're doing it on Wii U, these are the steps you would follow it there. And like basically you're packaging it up. If you're doing it on Wii U, which I imagine TJ is, you're packaging it up in a way so that when you transfer it over to a modded Wii U, which is pretty easy to do these days, you know, would be able to play it on there. YouTube is your friend, and I know that's like not the best, way to go about it. It does. I know, no, but like, some people are better at explaining things on YouTube than others, and they assume that you have a background knowledge in doing this sort of thing if you're looking it up. Like, they're not going to give you every single step along the way. The best advice that I could give you is like join a Discord server where somebody has either done this, or a lot of these mods will have Discord servers affiliated with their GitHub repos. So I would start out by just looking up like, okay, like, first of all, you need to decide, where am I going to play this? Is it going to be Wii U or is it going to be PC? If it's going to be Wii U, then you say, okay, how do I go about modding my console so that I can do this? It's all software. You don't have to solder anything or anything like that. And with the eShop being offline, your mileage may vary as far as the morality of it is concerned. Like, you have to come to terms with that on your own. I can't do that for you. Yeah, so once you do that, then you would follow the steps. Like, I would go on YouTube and look up, like, how do I patch Breath of the Wild for Second Wind to play on a Wii U? And someone out there will have a guide, generally, is what I've found. And then as you do these sorts of things work, because there's like hundreds of mods like this, not just for this game. Like, Smash Brothers has... for like every type of release, there's like, Other M, there's Smash Remix for the 64. Like, there's all kinds of mods like this that are available. So it can be fun, and it will give games that you really enjoy a second life, second wind. Sorry for that. But yeah, I mean, it's why I'm like as dorky about all this as I am, is because like there's certain games that I will latch onto that I will play ROM hacks of, whether on any console, and it's like a new way to experience like the mechanics of a game or expanded content for a game that maybe wasn't supported by a first party, but there's like a really diehard community that's like super into it. So unfortunately, like on the technical side, like I can't tell you like step beat by beat, how to do it. It is going to take practice. You are going to get frustrated, but you are going to learn stuff in the process. And if any of that interests you, then it's great. I swear that part of the reason that I got into IT is because I was modding my Wii when I was like 10. No, when did it come out? 13? I was probably 13 or 14. And I was like modding the Wii and putting emulators on it and stuff. And like, I just got super into doing that. So like it is a fun time. And if you end up doing it on PC, that opens a whole other set of doors. I won't get too into it, but if you are so inclined, there's a method now where you can basically patch any N64 ROM to run on PC natively now, which is insane.
That, like Majora's Mask.
Yeah. It looks like unbelievable. They were adding like higher frame rates, widescreen support, ray tracing to like all these games now, and it's like really, really cool.
Awesome. Well, hopefully that helped, TJ. Good luck.
So, just kind of looking into it. So it sounds like, to sort of summarize, what you would need to do is you would need to, if you're going to do it on your Wii U, you need to hack your Wii U. You would need to dump your ROM into something, like from your disk into something that you could use. And then you would need to use your computer to apply the patches. It looks like they just released a new version today. So those are kind of the three big steps that you would need to learn how to do. And like Chris said, video guides online can help you with that stuff.
Yeah, like, and documentation wise, like Second Wind does seem to be pretty robust, and it does seem like there's a pretty strong community around it. So like if you do end up like taking the plunge and diving into it, the Wii U setup stuff isn't bad. Like you can figure that out with an SD card in like 3 hours of your time on YouTube. Like max 3 hours. It's probably less. Yeah.
So with a little investment, maybe you could tame a Lionel. And if you do it, I would also wonder, what does a Lionel taste like?
Ooh. And what a good note to end us on that philosophical question. What does a Lionel taste like? Let us know. toadstoolboardroom@gmail.com. That's another episode of the Toadstool Boardroom in the Books. We're a weekly Nintendo show here on Thursdays, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on Apple Podcast, Spotify, video version on YouTube, audio wherever else you like to listen to your shows. Justin, where can people find you and what are you working on?
You can find me on Twitter at KOREIS. You should see a review from me by the time this airs on IGN.com for a military shooter game called Gray Zone Warfare. If you want to know what I think about it, check out that review. I'm also helping out with some new Elden Ring guides that they're putting up over there, and then I've got some previews coming out in the next couple of weeks on some other websites. Once I can talk about those, I'll mention them.
Awesome. Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me at Shrives93 all over the internet. I recently have been getting back into Rock Band and Guitar Hero because I'm an old man. And Raspberry Pi development is like the new hotness for me right now. So
Cool.
if you're into any of that at all, hit me up.
Nice. You can find me on Twitter at Logan J. Plant. You can find the show on Twitter at ToadstoolBR. Email us toadstoolboardroom@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week. We'll catch you next time right here in the Toadstool Boardroom.